Good morning, folks. It's Saturday. I'm bringing this is Dragon from Dragon Speaks to You. Put a Gmail on that.com. That's my email. Also, Instagram, hashtag Dragon Speaks for You. That's with a number 4 and a letter U. And YouTube, all my videos at Dragon Speaks for You. And I want to address something today about. I promised you I'd get more into the reading between the lines when you look into the Bible, okay? And I know right now a lot of you going, "Oh no, here we go. We're going to do this preaching." No, it's not going to be that. Just bear with me here. I'm using things as a reference, all right? Because that's what it's about, so that you understand. A lot of people don't look at it. It's just a story. Men wrote it. And it's just a story, and anybody could write a story. Well, that's true, okay? But if it's spiritually inspired and it can be proven to you, then what would you say? You know what I mean? What would you say? Uh, are you right? Are you wrong? It's called accountability. Accountability. So let's title this video "Taking Accountability." All right. It has many factions. I mean, I want to show you how it's not just a word about, you know, people may look at it as if to be accountable, okay, I got to admit it's my fault, okay? It's a lot deeper than that, okay? And that's how people read the word in the Bible. That's why a lot of people are bored with it. They don't want to hear it. Especially today, the youngsters, there's nothing new. I'm bringing something new. I'm bringing you not different as different from the word itself. It's a different way of looking at it so that you look between the lines. Like I said before, you got to read between the lines. The way it's been taught for who knows how many years now, okay, all these years, and these churches and stuff, there's a reason they don't bring it across as straight up and as heavy as I do, because they don't want to lose the crowd. You understand? And it's a shame, but maybe they just they don't see it, you know. But I do, and there's others like me that do, and and that's how the Lord meant it. You know, that's how Jesus, the Christ, not Jesus Christ, the Christ, which means Messiah. Christ, the Christ is the Messiah, the Savior. Okay. Now, in what aspect was he the Savior? All right. Okay. We're going to get deeper into this so we can see, and it's more understandable instead of reading the words and just, it's flat. It's flat. There's no 3D to it. You know, there's no depth for people, and people need the depth of it. What is it saying? What does it mean? I can tell. I can read English. I can see what it says, but it's flat. It doesn't feed me in depth. Do you see what I'm saying? And I understand that. So I'm going to try to give you something again today. We're going to do more and more of this too, so that you can see. And it's just, let's take away the spiritual aspect of it for the sake of argument, okay, of Jesus, the Christ. Let's take away the spiritual aspect and just say he was just a man, okay? That's it. All right. So he was named Jesus, you know? He was named Jesus. That's it. The name has a lot to say, but so does a lot of other people's names as a man, you know what I mean? So let's just look at that aspect, okay? So if I was to say something to you, say something to you about your life or your situation, whatever, you come to me with some kind of situation or something, and I say something to you and do this, do that, and blah, 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 and this might help you out, whatever. And you go and do it, okay? And do you come, and it works. It works. It helps you out. You got out of the situation or whatever it may be. It helps you out mentally, physically, whatever. And you're at ease now. It's, man, it worked. What he said was, it worked. Do you come back to me? Do you come back to me? Oh man, everything you said, was right, and it worked, and you must be this and that, and start giving me all this glory. You know what I mean? Which I myself don't need, but anyway, do you come back to me, or whatever person said it to you? I'm just using me as example, but uh, do you come back to me or that person and give them the praise, and where do you think it come from? You understand? Because me, for myself, if it was me, and at that point where I noticed everything came about, what this person said to me, I would automatically turn it from the carnal, which is man, just man, automatically go to the spirit, because there's no way that man knows anything of the future, or you know the predictions, anything like that. No way he knows that as a man, because I'm a man. I don't know that. I'm just a man. How come I didn't know that? You see what I'm saying? I'm just like him, and how come I didn't know that? Okay, that's where it turns from carnal to spiritual. You understand? Because he was spiritually inspired to say that to you. Okay? Now, you probably didn't know that at the moment. All right? You probably didn't know that. And he didn't need that. He didn't need to explain that. He knew it, but he didn't need to explain that. Okay? Uh, and you wouldn't understand it anyway. So the only way he could explain it to you would be to give you some kind of story, metaphoric story. Okay, this is how Jesus spoke. He spoke metaphorically. He spoke metaphorically in actions, a lot of words and stories that he told, because people were ignorant. They couldn't figure it out. What are you talking about? You know? So he had to give them a story that they could relate to, that might make sense. This is what it's like, this is what it is. This is what it's like. This is, you know what I mean? Okay. Just hold that thought. So anyway, we get back to the man. All that comes true. It flips. Okay. Now, for myself, I would automatically say, man, he was spiritually inspired. He had to be spiritually inspired, because it's all come true. It happened. What he said would happen, and it works. Okay. Right there, you have elevated to a point in your vibrations, because you have given the glory where it belongs. Okay. You didn't go to the man and praise this man. Okay. You've given the glory. So you have elevated, in your vibrations, and and in your vibrations, in your frequency, you have vibrated. I mean, you have elevated a frequency, because one simple reason: you have recognized the consciousness of you know of Christ, of the Christ in you. You understand? So Jesus came to give you that consciousness, to give you that realization, open your eyes to that, so that you could develop this constant consciousness of Christ in you, the salvation. That's why he said salvation is at hand. You walk with it. It's in you, but you have to recognize it in order to utilize it, in order to access it. You understand? For a certain part, you're blessed and you're followed with sort of an umbrella of grace, okay? But you can step out of that. You can step out, it's like being in the rain. You got an umbrella, man. You can easily move it aside, okay, for any reason. As soon as you do, you get wet. That's That's to say, it's just that simple. So if you step out from under this umbrella, okay, for a certain part is already there. You understand? If you develop that, that umbrella gets bigger. You understand me? It gets bigger. You have a bigger shield of protection around you. All right. You can get to the point where you're walking as the size of a huge tent around you. If it just depends on how far you want to go in your elevation. See, and for myself, I want to go as far as I can go. I mean, I want to. The sky's the limit to me. You understand me? Uh, there's no place I really want to stop. And once you realize that this is working and you see the growth of it, you know, you can walk in all that rain coming down. And these are the problems and things of the world that are coming down, metaphorically speaking now. You understand? The rain, it's a metaphor. And the umbrella is also a metaphor. You understand me? It's the actual protection of the spirit. You understand? Okay. So when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. A lot of people don't understand that. Oh, well, we got to follow him. We got to do what he does and exactly like he does it and everything. And we can't never make it because, supposedly he walked without any sin and he never did anything wrong. And we can't do it. So, there's no way, no chance. So why even try? You're right. You're very right in a way. Okay. If you look at it superficial because it's flat, there's no depth. So it didn't feed you. It didn't feed you enough to open your eyes and your curiosity enough to look for the consciousness of the Christ in you, that your own salvation, which is in you. Instead, you were waiting for it to come from here or from there. It's, go buy it at Walmart or something like that, whatever. There should be a salvation store somewhere. I can go buy it. And a lot of people have this mentality. You see what I mean? That's because of the way things have been taught for so long. Okay. And, so I realized this real young. Okay. And so I actually turned away from those teachings. And I didn't turn away from God or the higher power of the Almighty. I didn't turn away from that. My belief, you understand? I turned away from what I felt. I didn't turn that away from that, from my belief inside. Excuse me just a second. Okay, I didn't turn away from that. Let's get back to that. So the way, the truth, and the life. So let's get on that. The way. What does that mean? The way. I'm the way. He says, I'm the way. What does that mean? He's the way. So I got to walk like him, talk like him, walk this way, No, it's superficial to look at it like that. Okay? I am the way. It means, when you look at it in depth, he's showing you the way it is if you open to him and the spirit. It's the way to that consciousness. It's the way to your salvation. Okay? Not that you got to walk in his steps and be exact, otherwise you don't make it. It's the way to salvation. I'm the way to you, to your own salvation. I'm the way to it. So if you can't find the way, I am the way. Okay? Listen to what I say. Listen to what I teach you. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to show you the way to your salvation. All right? Which is Jesus. Which is him. Okay? But you only see him as a man. So, he can only do so much. He can pull you out of a hole if you drop in a hole, and whatever. But how do you know he can save your soul? How do you know he can save you, you know, from the depths of hell, or the hell that, to me, I think we're in hell. We create our own hell, you know. Uh, so, okay, so that's one. The way, the truth. What does he mean by that? And he says the truth will set you free. But he said, I'm the way, I'm the truth, and the life. So now let's look at the truth. What truth is he talking about? Okay? What truth is he talking about? Oh, because he speaks the truth. Well, yeah. As a man, yeah. Okay? That's all you see. He's a man. That's superficial. Understand? But he's actually speaking of your truth. Your truth. When you walk in your truth, you understand me? When you walk in your truth, there's a word, a real ugly word, applicable to that a lot of people don't like. It's accountability. The truth. You understand me? The truth. And when he says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Now, when he says I'm the truth, is that there's no lie in me. There's no lie in me. I am total truth. So when you recognize me, you come to this accountability, you will be able to recognize me in your consciousness, the consciousness of the Savior within you. You carry your own salvation. Don't be waiting for something to drop out of the clouds, that's not where it's at. Excuse me. It's metaphoric, people. It's metaphor. It's a metaphor. You understand? He didn't know how to explain it to people because people were ignorant. They didn't, so many thousands of years have gone by, and everybody look at all the development in technology and intellect and everything else, and people are still that ignorant because they don't realize what it was. And if we're so smart today, then how come you don't? It should be like, man, like this is what it means. You know what I mean? But still, people don't see it. So maybe that's why the people working in the light, like me and light workers and whatever, are here now, waking up at this time and at this place and time now, to a higher elevation to teach people, or to try to open people's eyes, so they can see and start thinking. It's like, wait a minute, that makes sense. That's what he meant. And it's accountability. And there's people, a big majority of people that can't stand that word. They can't stand that word. They can say it to other people and about other people, but about themselves, that is their stronghold. That is their cage. That's the key. That's the key that locks the cage that they're stuck in. And it's also the key that opens the door. It's also the key that opens the door. Because once you take your accountability, it's amazing what opens. Because you can step out and then you start seeing and you start realizing, and you come together with this, the way. You start seeing the way. You start seeing the way. This is what he meant. Because you start seeing the way. Now you got to work at it, okay? The way, the truth, and the life. Now let's get on to the life. What's he mean by the life? So, what is it? What's he mean by that? The life. What life? The way, the truth, and the life. His life, the way he lives. It's. He was poor. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to walk around. You know what I mean? How do we see that? How do the majority or most people see that? What is it? But a lot of people see it differently. But when you look at it between the lines, what life is he talking about? He's talking about the spiritual life. The spiritual life. Walk. I'm the way. So I'm here to show you the way to the truth so that you may acquire this life, this wonderful life. Okay? That's it right there. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's just a lot of people don't see it. It's not been taught like that. So I'm the way. I'm here to show you the way, and it's through truth that you will acquire the access to this life, all coming about by the recognition, the consciousness of the salvation within you, the Christ within you. It's got to be spiritual. It's got to be spiritual, because your blood, flesh cannot do anything, nothing about your own salvation. You going and feeding the poor and building churches or this other stuff, everything else, all these good things I'm doing. Look, that's for you. That's for you to feel good. You're doing it for you to feel good. You're not doing it. You're not. What are you doing? You're going to buy you a ticket to heaven, or whatever you're thinking, Well, I'm getting credit, man. I'm going to write these down. That's what you're supposed to do anyway. You're supposed to help people. You're supposed to love people. You're supposed to help them, not hurt them. Okay, not hurt them with scams and lies and take. You're nothing but a taker. You're not a giver, and you think what? You just because you're there, just your presence is enough. Talk about arrogant. Talk about narcissistic. Talk about vanity. Give me a break. You know what I mean? You're nobody. But then you're everybody. But it's how you look at it. Okay? If you want to look at it superficial, you're nobody. That pretty image in the mirror is nothing. It's nothing. It's deteriorating as you look at it. As you're looking at it, it's deteriorating to a point you don't want to look at. I'll give that a second for it to soak in some of you, because some of you are pissed off at me right now for saying it. Well, it's too bad. It's the truth. The truth. Okay? And you have to face the ugliness in you for it to set you free. Face the truth of yourself so that you can be free. That's what he meant by the truth will set you free. Because it don't just mean just tell the truth and you'll be set free. Well, there's instances and stuff, you tell the truth, you go to prison, A lot of times you go to prison for nothing anyway. You don't have to do anything wrong, There's situations you just, there's people in prison that are totally innocent. I know. Could have been a victim of it. But there was something to learn. And any circumstance you got, there's something to learn in it if you look at it with depth, in between the lines. You understand? In between the lines. Okay? There's one of the stories, one of the parables he tried to tell people, okay? And one of my favorite. And it's the parable of the 10 talents. The 10 talents. That's like I don't know, make it equivalent to let's make it $10,000. Okay? 10 stacks, as they say on the streets. 10 stacks. So $10,000. There's an owner. He had to try to make him understand. Okay, so this is a parable. So he come up with this story to try to get him to understand, because they asked him a question. Well, you know, what is the kingdom of heaven like? I mean, what is that, and what is you know what is the Almighty, and what's he like, and all these, asking him all kinds of questions. Well, he came up with the 10 talents, and and I'm going to paraphrase everything, so don't say I'm twisting the words of God. I've been accused of that. Oh, he's the devil. He's the devil. He's twisting the word. I don't twist the word. I get in depth. And they can't understand it. That's because they're shallow. They're shallow, and that's where they're going to stay. They're going to stay shallow because they think shallow, and they see shallow, and that's it. They don't open their mind to some depth, and that's how the Lord meant many things in the Bible. I'm telling you, we're going to get into a bunch of it. If you're interested, you can listen to them. But so the parable of the 10 talents, there was these three. There was a lord, okay, what they called. So he was a boss, the main boss, the owner and main boss of this of these guys. There's three, okay, three of his workers, and he came up, and he's three servants, they call them, all right, and they weren't like slaves, He came up to one. He says, I need to go. All right. So he might have had, I'm breaking it down into our timeline. Okay. I've got an appointment in, I got to go overseas. I got an appointment. I'll be gone for a while. But here's $10,000, to each one of them. Each one of them. He gave each one 10 stacks. Three of them. Each one, 10 stacks. He goes, now I'm going to be gone for a while. I'll be back. Okay? He didn't tell him nothing about what to do or anything with it. It's all, what are you going to do with it? Okay? So he leaves. He comes back. Now he was pretty strict. He was strict. Okay? He was very strict. I mean, he was by the book. He didn't play no games. You know what I mean? And they all knew that. But they loved him. So the first guy, he takes it, and he goes and invests it, makes it work, triples it, quadruples it, makes a stack of money from it, okay? He invests in his ideas. And the second guy, he went and worked it, doubled it up, made money out of it. It produced good fruit, as they say, and he made it do this or do that, and built this or built that. He made it work. The third guy, he had this fear, and he thought he was doing right, because he says, well, the master, he's a pretty rough guy, so I want to make sure, that I don't mess up. He didn't have no confidence in himself. He didn't have no vision. He didn't look to see within himself his answers. He might have just looked at it as greed. Many things that keep us from exploring ourselves in a bigger way, okay? Very important phrase right there. Exploring ourselves in a bigger way. These are the 10 talents, okay? So he goes and buries it. Whatever, puts it in a coffee can or whatever, goes and buries it. So when the master comes back, he come up, he says, what have you done with what I left you? What have you done with what I left you? First one comes up, he says, oh, I did this, I did that, and I quadrupled it. I look at what I done with it. I spread it around and all that. I made so much out of it, I started spreading it around. And he goes, very good, a good and faithful servant. he tells him. Faithful. Good and faithful. You understand? We'll get back to that. The second one comes up. He goes, "What have you done with it? What'd you do with what I left you?" And he says, "Well, I did this. I doubled it, and then I built this, and I built that, and people are able to benefit from it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And other than himself, very good, good and faithful servant. Again, faithful servant." The third one comes up. He goes, "Oh, master, you'll be proud of me, man. You're gonna be proud of me. I still got it. Look, there it is. Here's the 10 stacks." He goes, That's it?" He goes, "Yeah, I figured you'd be proud of me. I didn't squander it or nothing. Here it is, man. I've got it." So he did nothing. He did nothing with what he was left. So you did nothing with what I left you, what I gave you? He goes, "No, but I got it. Here it is." He was all proud of himself. And what he did, what the master did, he said, "Take it from him and spread it among the other two. For he is not a good and faithful servant. And take it and give it to the others. Take it away from him." Okay? Now, let's explore this a little bit. This is a metaphor story. So the Almighty, the power, the all is the master. The servants are us. The gift of the 10 talents are your gifts you are given. Okay? Your gifts you are given. Everybody's got different gifts. They're gifted in, some have got, powers of prophecy. Some got powers of healing. Some, powers of charity, love and a super expression of love that other people don't have, beyond other people. It's special. Everybody's got a special, and some got more than one, gifts. But that's what the 10,000 is. Okay, so look at it that way. Okay, so the time the master comes back is the time of the so-called judgment. All right, the so-called judgment. And that could be at any time. You can be judged tomorrow. You can be judged ongoing. Right now as I'm speaking, I'm being judged right now. You understand? How do I stand in that? I don't worry about it. I don't worry about it because I know where the consciousness, you understand, is. And I've given to that. So my consciousness, I'm providing and acknowledging the consciousness of my salvation right now in just doing these videos. That's what I'm doing. If I'm cooking dinner, if I'm whatever I'm doing, it's not for me. Do you understand what I'm saying? I do custom leather work. Every time I finish a project, man, I look at it and I go, "Oh my Lord, man, you do awesome work." I don't give the glory to myself. Sometimes I look at it and it's like, "Dang, man, this sucker turned out beautiful." It surprises me because, and I've been in the business 40 years, 45 years. And, still to this day, I see some things and I go, "Man, that's awesome." But I never take the glory. You understand? I don't take the glory. My glory is the customer. When the customer looks at it and then I see the smile on their face and they're happy, that's mine. That's my gift. The money, it's mandatory. I mean, what they pay for it, it's mandatory. That's not here or there, from what I'm talking about. The real payment is when they're smiling and they see something nobody will ever have because I don't duplicate. It's one of a kind items that I make. So they look at it and they cherish it, you know, or I make them something, an outfit or whatever, and they looking in the mirror, and they're paying me as they're looking in the mirror, you know, they're shoving out the money and they're looking in the mirror, so they, you know, and I love that because they're acknowledging the gold, what I call the gold, which is that spirit within me, which put that out. Do you understand what I'm saying? These are just the hands that did it. But it thrills me when they love that, because that smile and that, you know, that look they get in their eye, that is acknowledging, it transfers over to me, and it acknowledges that gold in me, not me. Do you understand? And then they tell, oh my God, Dragon, you're awesome. You do this, okay, but I don't take that to my head. You understand? Because that's not how I look at it. Okay, it's a separate thing for me. I don't know how to explain that. It's a separate thing for me. Yeah, I know it did good work on it. I know that, but it's not. I don't take that praise. I give it where it belongs. Okay, and that's the spirit that led me to do that. That gave me that talent, that 10,000. You understand? It gave me that talent. I'm using that talent. It's part of that spreading it. And that person just got blessed. And he's going to go on and talk, and there's going to be more that come out. You understand? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not taking it. I could easily keep my talent of leatherware for myself, and I'd have the best clothes. You know, very seldom do I ever even do anything for myself. It's crazy. I don't. I could wear the finest leather, I'm telling you, because I could make leather that blow people's minds for myself. Outfits, you know, jackets. I'd blow people away, man. But it's not about that. I don't. You know, I wear old chaps when I ride my bike. If I got chaps, if I wear them, I got old chaps. I got a vest. I did, you know, do me a vest. You know what I mean? But you know, old stuff, man. Like old jacket. You know, I don't go there. You know, and I could easily do that, but I don't do that for myself. Like the guy that went and buried the 10,000. You understand? I don't do that. I work it. I use it, and it's for people. You know, and and I benefit from it, of course. You know, I get paid, and I pay the bills and stuff like that. So, you know, it's if you kind of get my drift, people, you know what I mean? But it's a spiritual gift. So what are you doing? What are you doing with your spiritual gifts? Are you even looking for them? Do you even realize you have any? And if you do, are you using them? Are you developing them? Because the more you use them, the bigger it gets. You know, the bigger it gets. And the more powerful you get. And at the same time, your vibrations are, man, your vibrations are leveling out, and your frequencies are rising, and your consciousness is developing. You know, the consciousness is developing of the salvation, the Christ in you, man. You know, that's what Jesus Christ meant. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. All right, and look what the life you're living. You know, quit looking at all this. You know, if it's meant to be, it'll get there. You know, it'll get there. If it's meant to be, you have a mansion over here or whatever. Me, I could care less about that. You know, I'd like a newer house. I mean, I'd like a nice big house, but not, you know what I mean? Not something extravagant, man, like these, you know, some of these things. And I'd like a nice car, you know, and then over here on the side, build me a nice hot rod, have the money to build me a nice hot rod. That never leaves me. I've always had that, you know, within me. I've built them. So I'd like to have one, and I stopped doing it because it was too expensive, you know, but I'd like to have that. That's, you know, I don't, you know, my bike, you know, maybe upgrade my bike or go to something different, but I'm not going to go blowing crazy. You know what I mean? I'd rather use, you know, the money to help my family, you know, help my grandbabies, set something up for them, you know, and then other people, build something where people can come and they profit from it, they benefit from it. You know what I mean? Put something together. That would be my thrill, man. That's my ultimate dream. You know, like that. You know, to do something like that and build something that is actually helping. Actually, there's a lot of outfits that are doing things, and you know, God bless them, man. But they're trying, but it's not as effective as I'm talking about. Uh, and the total idea of it and the methods are still yet to come. And when it's time and I get that 10,000, you know, those talents, I get that gift when I get the full amount, and I've been getting it, but when I get the full amount of what it does, because it makes you understand it builds itself if you use them, you know, those talents. So when it gets to that point where I'm ready, and it's deemed so by the Spirit that I'm ready, the methods and everything's going to come, the full idea, and I know it's there. I know it's there. I know it's there, and it's not the same as everybody else is doing. I know that too. It's not the same. This is going to be mind blowing. That's because it's going to be able to provide worldwide. You understand? Not just for a certain city, and not just for a certain county or a certain state. It's I can feel that. I really can, and you know that's what I man. It's just I don't know if it's making any sense, people, but that's with me. That's what's in me. You know what I mean? With you guys, you know you do, and that's not taking any way or demeaning anything that other people are doing. I'm just saying, for me, that's what I'm seeing. You understand? And what everybody else is doing is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's helping people, the community, and things like that. So I'm not demeaning any of it. Don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get me twisted. But I'm just saying, for what I'm saying, I know it, and I've worked them. I've had them. I've had a recovery program 20 years. You know what I mean? I've worked. I've worked it, but it wasn't enough for me because I felt like I'm not. I'm not doing something. There's something I'm not doing because it doesn't completely fill that spot. You know what I mean? It's just something, and I know now I've grown from that also, and so I know now that it's bigger, something bigger. So hopefully the day will come, or not hopefully. I know the day's going to come, and then maybe you folks will see it. But anyway, to get back to it, you know, read these things in between the lines. What was the Lord saying? You know, what was He saying? But you got to go spiritual, people. You have to look at it spiritually. And if you look at it logically, like what I said, you know, save this video, go back, and if you know, because it's a lot of information sometimes and people can't remember. So save it, go back and listen to it. You know, this, you know, what would I have to do this? You know, to accomplish this, and it's pretty simple. So once you recognize that within you, and you know, it's the consciousness of the Christ in you. So once you do that, you start getting away from yourself. You know, the ego is holding you back. You're hurting people. You're hurting people, even if you don't realize it. And you can't blame it all on childhood trauma or, you know, traumatic things that happen in your life, and, you know, this and that, losses, traumatic losses and stuff like that. Sure, there's some blame to it, but you can't use those as excuses for hurting people by, you know, covering up the lack of accountability in yourself. You just don't want to admit you're wrong. You are wrong, period. You know? And if there's people around you that are petting you and say, "Nah, you're doing okay. It's okay. Don't listen. You know, don't listen. You're okay." And they pat you on the back. "No, you're doing good. Come here. You know, you're okay." They're not doing any better themselves. They have lack of accountability themselves. Look at their life. Quit. You know, it's too easy for some of you to take it right away and cover everything up with that pat on the back. Or that I love you. No, don't worry about it. I love you. They don't love you. I love you. You know what I mean? It's too easy to use that. Okay, I'll got that. You know, anything else, you don't see their life. You don't see how they're living and the things that's not working for them. You know, some can't hold a relationship for nothing. You know, why is that? There's something wrong. And they're crying about it, so you know they're trying, but they can't hold a relationship. You know, a male, he can't hold a woman. It gets women, but he can't hold one. He can't find one. He's, you know, getting older and older and older and older, and he can't find one. Well, oh no, I like being alone. Yeah, right. You know, that's why you're calling every day. You know, somebody. You know, that's why you're calling every day. Somebody, just somebody acknowledge me. I need validation. I need validation. You know. And you're teaching the kids the same thing. You're teaching the kids to live the same way. You know what I mean? A woman, same thing. Calling up, oh, well, how you doing? You know, there's people even calling people that are doing completely lousy. But they're willing to pet them and be a yes man for them. No, you're doing okay. You're doing all right. You know, we'll pray for you. Come on. You know, you don't need that. You don't need that. You do it within yourself. You have it all. All the answers and everything are within yourself, but you can't think. You're stuck because you decided not to use the key. You know? You got in the cage and you shut the door and you locked it yourself. There's just other people helping you. Yeah, don't, you know, stay in there. Just stay in there. You know? And you're afraid to use the key to walk out. You've gotten so used to it in your life, throughout your life. That's how you've lived. You've gotten so used to it, you don't even recognize how many people you're hurting. You know what I mean? How many people you're hurting. It's selfishness, total selfishness. Total selfishness. And whether you like to hear this or not, it's too bad. Tune out if you don't want to hear it. And stay and live miserable. You know, it's up to you. It's up to you. But you're not going to change my opinion. And I'm speaking the truth. You can't face the truth, which is accountability. There it is. There's the answer right there. You're not accountable. You can't face accountability because of your ego or your shame or your guilt because of what you've done and this and that. Clean it up. Take accountability and clean it up. Then you won't have to worry about that, but you're in this torment and you keep having to think of another plan and another way and another this to try to cover it up or get out of it. It's getting bigger and bigger, and it's coming down on you. It's coming down on you closer and closer. And it's like the walls are closing in on you, you know, especially when you're by yourself. You know, that facade, it goes away. That you put on for everybody, it goes away. And when you're by yourself, you can't think of different ways to get out of that anxiety and that depression, man. You know, you're driving yourself nuts. And that's what that dark side wants. That's what the dark side wants. But you won't, you know, it's demonic. It's a demonic presence in you that is covering up, like a blanket that's covering up the consciousness of the Christ in you, the salvation. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Here, let's cover it up. Let's cover it up. Okay? That's what's happening. So, what is it? Let's say it's a possession. Is it a possession? A demonic. Sorry about that. Is it a demonic possession? Yes, it is. It's a demonic possession. Do you need Jesus, the Christ, to come down and do an exorcism and pull the demon out of you and throw it into the pigs? Is that what you need? Is that what you're waiting for? He's in you. You need Jesus to get rid of your demons? Then get to him, man. Let him out of the cage. But you got to acknowledge the fact that he's even in there to begin with. You got the key, open the cage, let him out. Does that make any sense? Because you don't need a priest or this or that and people to come and, sprinkle water on you and, all this other stuff to do with this exorcism to remove this demon from you. You have all the power to do it. You're the one that opened the door and let it in you anyway. So why don't you kick it out and shut the door? You got people that convince you you don't need that because they're smiling and fake loving you, Oh, they love you about this much. They don't love you enough to take care of you completely. They're not supplying you, like I've said before. They're not paying your bills. Then the trouble you're getting into, the little bit that you do tell them you're in, they're not helping you out of that. And if they could, they just get you into more because they got no sense. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get you out. They got ideas. Well, their own ideas, they're scared to make a move because they're living too content. They're not gaining anything. They're living too content. Oh, they may have this and have that and have all this and over there, and you think they're living so fine. All that can disappear in a flash. And they've got to work their butts off. They have no time for themselves, no time for each other as a couple. They have to force it. They have to make it happen here and there. You shouldn't have to live like that. Know what I mean? You shouldn't have to live like that. I mean, I worked all my life, but, I always made time for me. I was more important than having to do all this and that. I'm worried about a job. It's just a job. There's jobs everywhere, man. I've learned so much that I can fall back on anything. I don't ever worry about if I need to make money at something. It's just, I never have had that problem because I make sure of that, It's like my dad always used to say, he always had a stash of money. Always had a stash. I learned that since I was a little bitty boy. He always had a stash of cash that he never used. Every once in a while, he'd pull it out, some out of it. I'm the same way. I stash and I keep it for maybe for years. I mean, or months. It don't matter. But he called it insurance. He used to call it insurance all the time. And you have to do that. But there's many ways, many forms of insurance for yourself. Do you understand? With me, it's also knowledge of work, things I can do, things I can do. And I've built that up in me and it's stashed. It's stashed in here. It's stashed. Anytime I need something, I'll pull it out. Okay, do I have to do something right now? What do I want to do? Let's see. Can I go into RF, radio frequency? I'm high tech in that. I'll go weld. I can weld in anything, certified. Let me see, what else? Heavy equipment, maybe I can drive anything with wheels. I'm certified in that. Crane operator, everything, man, all kinds of stuff, plumbing and heating. I ran a company, all kinds of stuff. And I had to go learn that, the technical stuff, low, from low frequency stuff to high frequency things, I just learned a whole bunch of stuff. I can see it, I can do it, But what I do in my art, in my leather, that's God-given gift, That's God-given gift. I have that always. I'm a walking job. I don't need a job. I'm a walking job, And if I want to work, I will. If I don't, I won't, I try to keep myself out of situations. This is what I'm trying, my point, people. I try to keep myself out of situations that I have to stress myself. You understand? But you have people in your life that'll pluck from you and take from you and take and take and take. So you're constantly having to, And if you ever have to catch up, forget it. You know, you got a problem if you ever have to catch up. And if something, you can't have insurance, okay, as I say, insurance, your stash, because it's depleted. It's depleted in trying to keep somebody happy because they don't understand. They just want and want and want, take and take and take. No give. You understand? Even emotional, spiritual, physical. You see what I'm saying? And these are people around you. These are people around you. They'll take from you. And you give, you know, with me, it's up to me how much I want to give. You understand? And a lot of times I overdo it. I give too much and they get used to it. And pretty soon you're being abused, you know. But, I mean, if you can take it, you know. Okay, fine. But once you had enough, they don't see it. Stop. You just stop, you know, stop. And but it's too late. They won't stop. It's no, I can't stop. There ain't no way I can stop. That's it. That's when you gotta, that's it. Done. You know what I mean? You can only take so much, people. So supply yourself to where you can give and regulate. You have to have boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Because people will take, as long as you feed the sheep, they're going to keep eating. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's crazy. You got to think about it, but you have to use the consciousness of the Christ in you for your own salvation. You know, I have people that, you know, that say, I want to help people, but they don't have anything, any access to anything they can help them with. So they're depleting, even when they have nothing, they're depleting and trying to give. And where are you getting it? You know, so you're making moves that are no good for you. You know what I mean? If you know, this is the way I say it. You know, if you can't wipe your own butt, what makes you think you're going to help somebody wipe theirs? You know what I mean? That's putting it bluntly. You know, it's a little harsh, but you know, I use other words. I'm telling you, I get straight up about it because I speak the truth, and it's I'm trying to help people. You know, how do I get through to you? Do I have to bring it from the street? Do I have to use the street language to get through to you? I can't speak diplomatically. You know, I can't speak diplomatically because it seems weak to you and you don't get it. It bounces off. It don't penetrate. So if I use street language, you get it then because you hear that. Oh, dang. You know, yeah. Well, that's what you need. That's what you need. You know? You know, an ass, you have to beat an ass to move. You understand? That's a donkey. Okay? Even the Bible calls it an ass. Okay? You have to beat an ass for it to move. Otherwise, it's going to sit. That's why they call it an ass. It's it's stubborn, and it won't move. It's not going to just move like a horse, okay? Unless it's trained. But you got to beat an ass all the time for it to move. A donkey, you know, a jackass. Hear what I'm saying? And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I know I've been that. I've been called that by my closest to me, but they don't know what the heck they're saying. It's a tax. It's a tax. They're just a tax, you know. Words. They hurt, but it's not like they're going to deplete me, you know. But I don't forget. I don't forget, you know. You carry them with you. And why would you do that? Why would you do that? You got to think about it. Why would you do that to somebody you love? Somebody you're supposed to love, you call such a fantastic love you got within you, but yet your love, you cuss them out with the gravest of words that can come out of your mouth when you're angry. You know? Why would you do that? You got to look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That's that accountability. That's that accountability. And if you can't see that, you know, And you go out and tell people that, then from there you tell people, oh yeah, it's to cover yourself up. But what are you covering up? What are you trying to cover up? Because your guilt and your shame from doing it. So you got to go get, let me see how many people I can convince that I'm right with lies. You don't think that's going to catch up to you? And then you're going to be crying and whining and begging for help. You think help's going to come along when they realize what you really are? You're making it worse and worse and worse because you won't take accountability. You know, how about this? Think about this. This is a nightmare for some of you. I'll bet you, if you're in this. If you haven't tuned out already because I don't want to hear it. It's too much truth. You know, how about this? How about you say, okay, I'm going to take accountability. And one of the first things you do is you go to the same people you were lying to and taking trying to convince them all them lies and go tell them. I lied. I was lying. I was trying to cover up myself and make myself feel better and look better because I wanted men to look bad so that I looked better. And I was lying. All those were lies that I said. How about you do that? That right there, you'd be amazed what it'd do for you. If you could get up out of your ego and do that, you'd be amazed what it'd do for you. That, the truth will set you free from yourself. Because you are the only thing that's got you caged. So try that first. Try that first. And it's going to be hard because I'm sure the first ones you went to are your family. You see what I'm saying? And that's what you'll do. And then you go to some friends and anybody else. Hey, you off the street, come here a minute. Yeah. What does it take for me to get you to listen to me? Oh, a little bit of attention, you know? You're just digging worse and worse for you. Oh yeah, I talked to you once. Remember that all that line of crap I told you? That was a lie. Can you do that? If you could do that, I'm telling you, that's your redemption. That's your deliverance from yourself. Not from the person you're lying about. The person you're lying about really don't care. Think about that. How are you going to clean that up? That's the lack of accountability that gets you in those predicaments because of ego and shame and guilt. The lack of accountability. Start taking accountability for the things you do or the things you've done. I know it's ugly. I know it tastes bad. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Some things are really bad, and I don't know if I can do it. You can do it. You can do it as easy as you got yourself into it. But you're trying to talk yourself out of it. You worked yourself into it. You can't talk yourself out of anything you work yourself into. You got to work yourself out. You can't talk yourself out because you worked yourself into it. You have to work yourself out. So just as easy as you worked into it, it's a little tougher to work out because you got ego in the way. Your ego is so big and it's ridiculous. You're proud of nothing. What are you proud of? What are you proud of? What are you being proud of? Of being a dirty person? An ugly person? You don't realize, and you don't even want to think about the people you're hurting. You know, if you got a lot of grandbabies or you got a lot of family or you got a big family, you're hurting them. They're not going to say it to you, but you're hurting them. But do you think about that? No, because you are blown up so big, it's only you're thinking about. And this is the truth, people. The way. I'm telling you the way. I'm telling you the truth about the life. The way, the truth, and the life. Interesting. Who's telling you that? Is that me telling you that? Is that this telling you that? I am the way, the truth, and the light. I'm explaining it to you right now. It's Jesus. It's the Christ within me because I acknowledge, you understand, the consciousness of the Christ in me. Just like you. You have the same capability. That's what we're here to do, people. Wake people up with the truth, the way, and the life. The facts of it. Bring them to the light. That's what I'm trying to do. Bring it to the light. Get you out of darkness. And if it's not darkness, then why are you having such a miserable time? Some of you. Okay? A lot of you, I'm telling you, understand exactly what I'm saying. You probably went through the things and you've come out of it and you're agreeing with me. You know what I mean? And that's awesome. That's wonderful. That's what we want, people. That's what we want. Right now are the times that we need to do that in a big way, as big a way as we can. That's why I started all of this right here. You know? I mean, it was driving me bananas. It's like you pour so much out. Like I did in one of my videos. It's like it's having a cup, you know, and you're pouring it out. You're pouring it out, all this information and all this good stuff, you know, to help people. And you're pouring and pouring in your cup, and it fills up, and it keeps pouring and pouring. It doesn't stop, and it's just overflowing. And it's all pretty soon. It's all over the floor. You gotta, you know, it's almost like a panic. It's like, man. You guys come here, man. Get some of this stuff. That's what I'm doing now. Get some of this, man. It's going all over the place. It's terrible to waste it, but I can't stop it. So what do I do with it? I can't hold all of it. All these talents, I built it so much that it's going everywhere. And I don't want it to go to waste. It's a terrible thing to waste. You guys come get some of this. That's what I'm doing. That's just a metaphor. I just used a metaphor. Metaphorically speaking. And you know what else? I'll give you another word. Enigmatic. It makes you a walking enigma. The whole thing is enigmatic. It makes you a walking enigma, you know, and instant karma. You're instant karma, man. I walk in, I can see it happening. You can't stop that. It's bigger than you are. It's a spiritual thing, people. You know? And you can't walk around with a blown up head and thinking, oh yeah, okay, bzz, bzz, like you got, you know, lasers in your eyes and you're attacking people. It's not like that. It's not about that. And it's got nothing to do with you as a person, as this. You can't, you know, and you can't take it here and blow it up in an ego, let your ego blow up, because he'll leave you. You'll lose all of it. Then you walk around like a blithering idiot. You know? And you wonder why you can't think. You wonder why things are nothing works. Everything I try don't work. Well, that's why. You won't take accountability. You know? And the karma is catching you. You know? It's karma, man. It comes around. It comes around. You're reaping what you sow. Right now is the time, right now, especially right now in these months, October, November, to the end of the year, it's harvest time, man. You understand? You're reaping what you sow. It's time to reap. So everything's being reaped right now, and whatever you've been sowing, that's what you're reaping. If you don't want to believe it, fine, you know. But if you just stop everything and get all these people away from you, get all these fools away from you. Now call them fools. The Lord calls them fools. They're fools because they refuse to see. That makes you a fool too if you refuse to see and you're in the middle of this all this drama and you refuse to see what's causing it. Well, you know, sorry, but you're being a fool. There's the truth again. But if you face the truth, it'll set you free. I can't stress it enough, folks. You know, I don't want to apologize for coming at it so strong to you, but some of you need it. Sometimes you got to beat the ass to make it move. That's why you carry little whips with you, man. You riding one, it ain't gonna do nothing until you beat that sucker. That's what you do. That's how it moves. That's it. I was that way. You know, I know. I'm not talking from no experience. Everything I'm telling you is from experience, people. You know, so I'm not excluding myself from all of that. You understand? I'm just trying to help you. Okay, so I hope we got a little bit of. Remember your accountability, people. You know, take accountability. Start now. Start right now. Start right now. Sit back and reflect. Sit back and reflect. And I know you have by yourself at night, you're reflecting on all that shame, all that guilt. You can tell anybody whatever you want, but you can't tell me. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can read it, man. It comes to me and wakes me up at night. You know, sometimes it's frustrating. Like, man, just leave me alone. You know what I mean? But I can't help it. There's a connection. I can't help it. You know, I gotta sleep 2 hours at a time. You know, it's crazy. I wake up and cook something to eat at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's just, it's ridiculous. But that's where I'm at now. It never used to be that way, but now that's where I'm at in vibrations. It's you know, I don't question it. I just follow it. You know, but I get my sleep. I get my sleep. I get another hour. I get another hour. I get another hour. I get another hour. You know, my whole time thing has changed. Everything you're going to see that your time is going to all your time is going to change. You understand? And you'll find you a good job. Take accountability, people. You know, all this will work in your favor. I'm telling you. So anyway, I hope I made my point, and I'm sorry that I'm not sorry of coming across a little heavy. Some of us need it. You know I did, and I got it pretty heavy. You know, so some of you are getting away with it real light. But the hard part is going and like I said, going and apologize. Go and apologize. You're going to have to do it. One way or the other, it's going to break you down to where you're screaming an apology. You know, and that's only the beginning. And then go make amends, man. You're gonna have to tell the people. You're gonna have to you go to the people you hurt. You're gonna have to go to the people you lied to. You're gonna, you know, whatever you did to cover yourself up, you're gonna have to do it. And that's all there is to it. And until you do, you're not gonna be free. Okay. So you have a blessed day, and hope I didn't come across too hard. I love you from Dragon.